Have you ever wanted to look out at the world and just scream, why can't we all just get along? Yes? Like, please, like, if so, you're in good company. But the theme of pursuing peace, like, why can't we all just, go back to the 60s and put on our tie-dye and go to Woodstock and just get along? Be nice, right? It's central, though, to who we are as a Jewish people. We're a people who, from our very earliest texts, meaning the Torah until today, have put peace on the highest pedestal above everything else. The Torah, the blessing that we're supposed to be blessed with by our priests then and our Kohanim today, the last line, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha Shalom. No question. Peace. It's right there. You want to go a little further in history, we can say, okay, look, the prophets, our prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, etc., Micah, they were pretty doomy and gloomy people in general. If you read the majority of their stuff, it's like, bad things are going to happen, bad things are going to happen, bad things are going to happen. But let me tell you about the good that could happen. And what could happen? Let me tell you, nations will not beat their swords into plowshares. Nations will beat their swords into plowshares, their spears into pruning hook. Nation will not lift up sword against nation, never know war anymore. And then Micah, but every family, every person will sit under their own vine and fig tree with no one to disturb them. And a good Kindle with a good book and a full charge. Micah says it's right here. Isaiah, the wolf shall dwell with the lamb, the leopard, lie down with the kid, the calf with the beast of prey, the fatling together with a little boy to herd them. Sounds good to me. Anybody else? Want to just dive right into that? Nobody. You guys are all a bunch of warmongers. Okay. I mean, somebody sent me a meme today that was an artificial intelligence, not today, this week. Somebody said an artificial intelligence created image that it was a beautiful picture with a fireplace in the background and two gentlemen sitting there playing a game of cards together, smiling with a beer in their hands, and it was Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Isn't that the lion and the lamb? I'm not going to guess who's who, but right? I mean, we're like, come on. But our ancient sages took it one step further. In case you didn't know, the worst thing you can do in Judaism, the worst, there are three bad things, three of the worst, okay? One of them is idolatry. There's no forgiveness for idolatry. And yet, what does our Midrash, what do the rabbis say? Even if all the Jewish people worshipped idols, but lived together in peace, God would just leave them and smile. No punishment. We could only live in peace. Peace, 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 peace. Why can't we all get along? How do we end every service? Shachrit, Mincha, Mariv, Osei Shalom b'mromav, Hu yaseh Shalom aleinu. And you guys clearly believe it because you hired a rabbi named Shalom. So if peace is so important, why aren't there more Jewish peace groups? And why aren't we the peace-loving nation? Rather, we're the justice-fighting nation. A nation that fights for justice. So this week, I heard an interview with an Israeli rabbi who has for many years been at the forefront of the peace and coexistence movement in Israel. Rabbi Tamar Elad Applebaum is the founder of Tzion, an Eretz Israeli congregation in Jerusalem, the founder of a Beit Midrash for Israeli rabbis at the Hartman Institute. And since October 7th massacre, she's been part of a group of rabbis of every denomination and flavor who travel actually together to a certain degree, and have been going from community to community to help with emotional and spiritual processing and healing. From ardent secular to the national religious, this group of Israeli rabbis, they've come together to help. And she's also been acting as a rabbinic presence on numerous missions of North Americans who've come to witness the horrors. And she taught me something that allowed me to see a text that I look at all the time in a brand new light. In the beginning of our weekday Siddur is a text. In the section where you have it to choose one of the texts of rabbinic wisdom before the Kaddish de Rabbanan, and I've read this passage numerous times and never really given it the thought until I heard what she said and it clicked. Kind of like, you go to the optometrist and they flip the lens and all of a sudden you can see, and they flip it back and you can't see. And all of a sudden I saw this text and it says, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel used to say, the world stands on three things: justice, truth, and peace. Rab Muna said the three are actually one because the three are mentioned in one verse. If justice is done, truth has been effected, and peace has been brought around. And the text says from the prophet, says, execute the judgment of truth and peace in your gates, indicating that wherever justice is done, peace can be found. So Rabbi Applebaum said in this podcast that I listened to, she said, and I quote, all of us in Israel were thinking always about tomorrow. Here in Israel, we were always thinking of children and parents, and their history was a Zionist history. It was a history of independence and asking ourselves, what is our role in the world, and what should Jews do now that we have a state? The state of Israel has many Jews. And how will we make that state a blessing for the world? The changes we could make to society, the peace we're working for, the prophetic dreams. Always thinking about the future, but now I want to tell you that it has also revealed to me something about my Judaism and where it starts. And I understood suddenly that the Torah itself starts from an abyss. Chaos. The Torah and the story of our people, of our world, it doesn't start on a beautiful white page. It actually tells us that God created the world and then planted the tree of life amongst the abyss of tohu and vohu. Chaos, deformness. There's an abyss right now in our reality, over and over again. And we must walk in the ways of God and choose to plant a tree of life there like God did. And we were thrown back to the greatest challenge of all, sticking to life, asking whether we can live, whether there's a place for us in the world, whether we want to live, and what is a life worth living, really. Rabbi Applebaum is dedicated to peace. She is a peace lover. And she realized that she can't keep fighting for peace in a world of chaos. First, there has to be truth, an acknowledgement of what happened, an acknowledgement all around of what happened, an acknowledgement of what happened to the Jewish people in Israel, and an acknowledgement that what happened to the civilians in Gaza. She says there must be truth. Once there's truth, we can work on establishing justice. Justice where people are taken care of, where people feel that they are seen, where people don't feel like they are trampled upon. And once we have justice, then we can think about peace. She says, my people, the Israelis, the Jews, our truth is being denied around the world. And we feel that we are not seen, so we feel that there is no justice. And until we are able to establish justice for ourselves, we can't establish justice for others. But until we establish truth and justice for others, we will never live in peace. Which brings us to our parasha. Parashat Mishpatim is all about setting up a system of justice. You see, after 200 plus years of slavery, the slaves had been told what to do. Every minute of every day, wake up here, eat here, go to the bathroom here. And all of a sudden they're free and there's total chaos because they don't know what to do with their free time. Have you ever seen middle schoolers, elementary school, particularly the middle schoolers, the first day of summer break? They run out of school and they don't even know what to do with themselves and they get in trouble. Right? Think about it. That's why we send them to camp immediately within 2 days. I get some nods. I get nods from both parents and children. Because chaos. So God gives us mishpatim. Starts immediately after we come out of Egypt and we're told what to do with our time. Month shall be holy. The first mitzvah, and then the 10 Commandments set up a basic structure. And then we say the basic structure is really nice, but guess what? Here's the details. At 7 o'clock, you're going to get up. At 7:15, you're going to make your bed. At 7, right? Okay, this is what happens. And if you don't, there's a consequence, and it says what to do. Mishpatim is the same thing. It is setting up a just society. It's a blueprint for how to act. But until we acknowledge the truth that we are living in chaos, we can't find justice. And until we establish justice for ourselves and others, peace is going to have to live in an artificial intelligence created picture.